So every high school and college graduation speech you've ever heard in your entire life has been a lie. Nothing but lies. They have been lying to you. At least that's the case that Cal Newport makes in his book So Good They Can't Ignore You, which I, Andrew Syrios, will be reviewing today for the Syrios brothers on my own this time. But he makes the simple point that's very obvious, that everyone just says how you should pursue a career is to follow your passion. You'll hear this from middle school teachers, high school guidance counselors, college guidance counselors. You'll see it on every website that recommends something, about, well, what should you do with your life? What career should you follow? What job should you take? What university program should you go to? What are you passionate about? Follow your passion and you will become successful. You see it in the movies. You see, like Field of Dreams. If you build it, you will come. Or Eat, Pray, Love, divorce your husband and travel the world because you're bored and you need to find passion. You need to figure out what it is you're passionate about. And this isn't just like pop culture. Cal Newport, he points out, even Steve Jobs made this case. At the Stanford commencement speech, again going back to those college graduation speeches, this is what he said.
You've got to find what you love, and that is as true for work as it is for your lovers. Your work is going to fill a large part of your life, and the only way to be truly satisfied is to do what you believe is great work. And the only way to do great work is to love what you do. If you haven't found it yet, keep looking, and don't settle.
Cal Newport sums this up as the key to occupational happiness is to figure out what you're passionate about and then find a job that matches that passion. And according to him, and I think a lot of research and common sense and reflecting on my own life and those around me, that is actually very true. He points this out by just showing what exactly it was that Steve Jobs did himself. And it's not exactly following his passion. I'll just go through the bullet point list here real quick. First, Steve Jobs attended Reed College studying Western history and dance and then dabbled in Eastern mysticism. Then he dropped out but stayed on campus scrounging meals at the local Hare Krishna temple. Then he returned to California, moved back in with his parents, took a night job at Atari and started living in a commune. Went on a spiritual journey in India. Then an engineer named Alex Kamrat approached Steve Wozniak, who was Jobs' longtime friend, and to design a terminal device for his company called Call-In Computer. Wozniak hated the business side, so asked Steve Jobs to do it. Jobs left in the summer of 1975, though, to go back to the commune without telling Kromstedt, and he was replaced. Shocking when you don't tell some, that you're bolting for the summer. They replace you. Jobs then noticed that computer enthusiasts were excited by model kit computers you could assemble at home. He approached Wozniak about the idea of designing a kit computer circuit board to sell to hobbyists. It was a side gig, nothing more. Then Jobs tried to sell Paul Terrell's Mountain View computer store the circuit boards, but Paul wanted a fully assembled computer and would pay $500 for each. Jobs jumped at the opportunity, and that was the beginning of Apple. So there's not much in this story about following your passion. It's more like a bunch of random things happening and just kind of going with it and then finding the opportunity and jumping on it. And then once Jobs became very good at this, he became more and more and more passionate because he's sort of a lost soul to begin with. And so Cal Newport, his thesis is the opposite of it. And it goes like this. Here's how he sums it up. The argument flips conventional wisdom. It relegates passion to the sidelines, claiming that this feeling is an epiphenomenon of a working life well lived. Don't follow your passion, rather let it follow you in your quest to become, in the words of my favorite Steve Martin quote, so good they can't ignore you, which of course is the title of his book.
But I always say, be so good they can't ignore you. And I just think that if somebody's thinking, how can I be really good? People are going to come to you. It's much easier than doing it that way than going to cocktail parties.
Yeah. And this is not just a few anecdotes. It's not just Steve Jobs and a couple other people. There's solid research to back this. He points out a study regarding chess players. They studied players who had all spent roughly the same amount of time, around 10,000 hours, playing chess. Some of these players had become grandmasters, while others remained at an intermediate level. It turned out that hours spent in serious study of the game was not just the most important factor in predicting chess skill, it dominated the other factors. The researchers discovered that the players who become grandmasters spent 5 times more hours dedicated to serious study than those who plateaued at an intermediate level. And this this sort of goes without saying. I mean, it requires a lot of effort to become great at something. Malcolm Gladwell's book Outliers show that, for the most part, it requires about 10,000 hours of practice to master something. And the research that Cal Newport shows in this book shows that it's not, people don't start off passionate about something. No one starts off passionate about accounting. They become, but there are people who are very, very good at accounting and are very, maybe not passionate about it like that. They're not just boiling over about it, but they very much enjoy it. They enjoy being great at something. Being great at something is an enjoyable thing in and of itself. And this was really hit home to me with this tweet I recently saw from Brad Stolberg. A big misconception is that you need to be motivated to get rolling. You don't. Research, motivation often follows action, not the other way around. In practice, you don't need to feel good to get going. You need to get going to give yourself a chance at feeling good. I've found this definitely to be true in my own life. When I first started playing the guitar, for example, I did not enjoy it at all. I mean, I couldn't even, let alone a bar chord, I mean, I couldn't even play a C or simple chords, and I certainly couldn't switch back and forth between them. Before I could actually play something that resembled a song, it was not enjoyable at all. And it took probably 6 months at least before I could enjoy playing the guitar any. And even then, it became more and more and more so as I got better and better. And if you're interested, I also play the guitar and film some of those and throw them on YouTube, and I have a channel down here you can check out as well. It's been the same with real estate as well. My father started in real estate, and I joined his company, but at first, it wasn't, I never had a direct passion for houses or finance or management, certainly. But as you get better at these things, as you become more of a master of them, they become more enjoyable. People get it backwards. Even in the micro sense. I was in a slump recently, earlier this year, and I just kind of I didn't know exactly what direction to go. I with regards to all sorts of different things, and just eventually the way I got out of it was just started doing stuff. Just like, okay, you know what? I don't have a goal. I don't have a end point here, but I'm going to start getting back into things. I'm going to start working out again. I'm going to start doing work more assertively, more aggressively, just accomplish these goals, make a list of things to accomplish, even if I don't really know what the end point is. And that really just pulls yourself out of it. And I think it's very, very dangerous to approach things from the perspective that you need passion to get started. I think a lot of people kind of just wander around hoping that passion will strike them like a lightning bolt. And all of a sudden they are going to oh, that's exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted to open up, become a DJ or whatnot. Also, I mean, speaking of which, I think it can also push people down these career paths that are extremely difficult to make financially solvent. Like, I want to be a musician or an actor or something in the arts, which is great. I'm not saying the arts are bad. It's certainly a good thing. I love playing the guitar. But it's usually better as a hobby and build from there, or as a passion on the side, not as something that you have to make work. It sounds very mundane if you're very good at it, and you get good at it by work and effort. And so people have this backwards, and it's a very dangerous thing to have backwards. And so if you're in a slump, the best thing to do is to just do something. Just get started. Make some basic goals and start working on them. I mean, it's like Scott Adams made this point in his book, How to Fail at Nearly Everything and Still Succeed. And it's, create these systems. Don't rely on goals. Create systems. And so show up at the gym. You don't have to work out, but you just have to show up. Something like that. These have been very, that it's a similar concept. Just get it going. Get started. Start working out. Start looking for a job, even if you don't know what exactly it is you want to do. Take some classes. Do something. The best advice is to do something. Don't wait for inspiration to hit you. And when you get into something, give it your all. Give it your best. Maybe you'll end up hating it. Maybe you'll hate it, and then you can move on to something else. But give it your all. And you very well will become passionate about something that you're absolutely not passionate about now as you get better at it. It's very dangerous for people to think that passion strikes you like a lightning bolt. It doesn't. You gain it over time as you get better at something. And so far as that's the case, this is a great book. The only problem with it is it's sort of like Mindset by Carol Dweck, which I reviewed earlier, which you can see in the description. It's really one idea with a lot of the rest of it is just backing up that idea. Fortunately, unlike Mindset, this one, the words are pretty far apart. There's not many on one page. It's a brief read, and that's good because it's one idea. It's a very, very important idea, but it still is only one idea that is fleshed out. So for that reason, I'll give it 4 stars. But it's definitely something I'd recommend reading, and it's also something just that one concept is to hammer in your mind. Passion comes from mastery, not the other way around. You are passionate after the fact, not before. You will not be struck by motivation all out of the blue. You have to build up to it. So don't just sit there, don't wander, do something.